Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel. I'm Ashley and today we're going to take a look at some of the items in my collection that I kind of regret and I kind of wish that I hadn't spent my money on. So these are coming from brands that overall I do very much like. These products themselves just didn't work out for me, so if they worked for you, I'm super jealous because when you spend your money on something, you want to get use out of it, and these products just are not doing it for me. If you are new, then welcome. I hope that you will consider subscribing before you leave, and if you enjoy these types of videos, please go ahead and give it a thumbs up. But without further ado, let's take a look at the products in my collection that make me a little bit sad. So the first thing that I have is from Too Faced, and this is from their I Want Candy collection. And I was so excited to buy this because it is just so stinking cute. The packaging on everything was amazing. And it's this under eye brightening powder, or I guess you don't have to use it just on your under eyes. That's what the purpose I had in mind for it. But it's a banana brightening powder and it doesn't do anything for me. So it's got all of these little, like, I don't know if you can tell or not, but it has, in addition to the yellowish powder, it has little speckles of purple and blues and greens and pinks. I'm guessing as a bit of a color corrector. But even when I go like this, you can hardly see it on my finger. And when I put it on, it just, there's no pigment to it. It doesn't do anything for my skin. And overall, it just was kind of disappointing. I am going to hold on to it. I am going to try very hard to use it because, again, I did buy it and I want to get my money's worth from it. But if I could go back and do it again, I would not have picked this up from the collection. In that same vein, I do have from Becca. This was released a couple of Christmases ago. This is their Eye Lights Palette Apres Ski Glow collection, because that is easy to say. And again, I'm going to hold on to it because I'm going to try to use it just as highlighters, because genuinely that's what these are. They are not opaque enough to really be used as eyeshadows, and they are the colors that come as highlighters anyway. So for instance, you have Rose Quartz, Moonstone, Opal, Pearl, Topaz, and then the two deeper shades that are in here are Hot Cocoa and Toasted Marshmallow, which I don't think are standard, these two shades right here. And overall, I just don't find it to be a very useful eyeshadow palette. So for that reason, the packaging is beautiful. Becca products, powder products at least, are usually pretty fantastic. But this didn't hit the mark for me. I would rather just use an actual highlighter than try to reach for this. So that was a bit disappointing. Also from a holiday collection this past holidays, this guy here from MAC. This is their trio of a highlighter, a blonde bronzer, and a blush. And I actually filmed a get ready with me using this, and honestly, they didn't do anything. So it looks like it would be somewhat pigmented here, and the highlighter is fine, but the other two, even though they swatch decently, when you're applying them to the face, they just don't work for me. They did not show up at all. I was actually quite surprised. I had never really used anything other than MAC lipsticks before, so this was my first sort of venture into MAC face products. So I was also very disappointed for that reason. And of course, as soon as I buy something, it goes on sale, and it was like half price. In fact, on the Ulta website, it might still be there for half price. I wouldn't have even paid that. So this guy here, very disappointing. But I do want to try other MAC products. In fact, I might have purchased some of their Aladdin collection, so stay tuned for that. Okay, I have a couple of concealers. One of them is from Kat Von D. This is the Lock-It Concealer and Corrector. So for having a name like Lock-It, I was expecting this to be a pretty thick, pretty matte. Ooh, it's starting to separate even better. Yeah, we're gonna have to throw this out because that is an oily mess. And oily mess is honestly what it was when I applied it to my face. So this is extremely emollient extremely, and I had a problem getting much in the way of coverage. It did nothing to correct for like my under eye circles or anything. It took forever to blend out because it's this super oily sort of consistency, and it just did not work for me at all. And I'm actually super bummed that it's now separated and clearly gone bad. So this is actually going to go in the garbage. But I was very disappointed because it just didn't perform in the way that I needed a concealer to perform, if that makes sense. The other concealer that I have is from Milk Makeup, and this was my fault. This concealer itself is fine. The problem is that, shockingly, the shade is actually too light for me. So this is their Flex Concealer. This is in the shade Porcelain. This is the lightest shade in their range. And I thought that I had gone in and swatched this in the store. So when I ordered it online, I was so surprised that it was lighter than what I was expecting. So I actually have to mix this with another concealer for it to not be too brightening underneath my eyes. So while the formula is good, I messed up on the shade, so just be aware of that. But yeah, unfortunately, because I can't use it on its own, it is a little bit of a frustration for me because I do have to mix it. Even in the dead of winter when I'm at my very palest, which honestly, not too much paler than I am now because I don't color at all. But yeah, so good formula for me, poor choice in shades. But I must say, just on a total side note, I love that there is more and more expansion of shades within a range. So I know that there is still a very large market that is underrepresented and that still needs a lot of work, and I'm not detracting from that at all. But I know that it used to be that I could get the lightest shade of just about anything and it would still be too dark for me. So it is kind of refreshing in a way that I ordered the lightest shade of something and it turned out to actually be too light. So I do feel like that is definitely showing some progress, but again, there is a very large demographic that is very much underrepresented. So I'm hoping that things are moving in that direction as well. So let's talk about, while we're on the topic of complexion, let's talk about this guy right here. This is by Algenist. This is their Reveal Concentrated Color Drops. This is in the shade Green. I bought these a while ago, and I was really, really excited to use them. I have a lot of natural redness. Hello, Scotch Irish. It's very, very thin, which kind of surprised me. And it's a very milky green. And so when I blend it out into my skin, I'll be honest, it just kind of disappears. And it doesn't do enough to correct my redness to make it a worthwhile step for me. So as much as I wanted to like this, and this was like $38, it was not an inexpensive purchase. It doesn't do anything for me. I keep thinking that I'm going to put it into a project pan to force myself to use it up because again, I paid for it. I want to get my money's worth, but I really wanted it to be better as well. So this one isn't my bad as well because I kind of knew what I was getting into. This is the Too Faced White Peach eyeshadow palette. Now this was not well reviewed, so I knew that going into it. I do try to do a lot of my homework and really purchase products that I feel very confidently that I will enjoy and get good usage out of. So this came out in kind of a set over the holidays, I want to say last November, and it came with this and the bronzer that looked like cherry pie. So cute. I mean, just the cutest thing ever. And to be honest, I did buy it mostly for the bronzer, but I thought, you know what, I'll give the eyeshadow palette a shot because it does look like it would be really, really pretty. It just has a couple of big stumbling points. So for one, there's just not enough variation. You can't really, or at least I couldn't really, pull a look together completely. So you do have some crease shades and things like that. You do have some all over the lid shades. For me, you don't have enough of those kind of outer corner sort of shades. I feel like this shade here, Sweet Fig, could have been deeper, kind of a deeper sort of dusty plum color. And the same goes for Fuzzy. I feel like this could have been a deeper sort of brown shade because you go from light, 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 light to super dark. And this one is Shimmery Peach Passion. This is not something that I'm going to put in my outer corner because it is, I mean, it's beautiful, but it's chock full of glitter. It's just not what I use it for. And then the other issue that I had was that they just, for me, didn't translate onto the eye very well. So this shade right here, Glistening Peach, I was so excited for because it looks so pretty. It's got this sort of peachy golden shift to it. And when you swatch it, it's stunning. It is so pretty. I couldn't get it to look like that on my eyes. It is crumbly and just not very good, and that breaks my heart because ordinarily I do really love Too Faced products. Too Faced eyeshadows typically are some of my favorites, but this one just, it doesn't do it for me. I am, again, holding on to all of these products because I want to find a way to make them work, and there are shades in here that I can use, but unless I'm doing it in a project where I'm focusing on some specific shades, if I'm just doing my makeup to do my makeup, I don't necessarily love having to pull from multiple palettes. And if I were to use this, I would need that. I would need to have at least one or two other palettes or singles or something to bring a look together because this by itself won't do it for me, which is unfortunate. So even though I bought it on sale, if I could do it over again, I would not have purchased it, even though the bronzer is so stinking cute. So something else that I purchased over this past holiday is from Morphe. This is one of the eyeshadow palettes that they released, I think on Black Friday. It is the Social Butterfly 15S. And again, it looks like it would be amazing. Beautiful, beautiful color story in here. And typically I really do enjoy Morphe's eyeshadows. The problem is I can't get a cohesive look out of these. And part of this is my personal skin tone. I'm very, very fair. And so very dark eyeshadows just don't look great on me. I've also got hooded eyes, so it just turns into a bit of a mess. So all of these here, nope, not this one, sorry. This whole row down here and these two shades right here, they have a black base to them. So even though they look very vibrant in the pan, when I put them on my eyes, they're just very, very dark and they get messy very quickly. Now there are a few other shades in here that I do really like. This shade right here, Insta Famous, I love this shade. This shade right here, Makeover, yeah, I'm trying to read upside down. Beautiful. And this shade right here, now trending. And honestly, this really bright orange called Latergram are beautiful. So there are shades in here that I really do like, but I don't pull for it very often because I can't use enough of the shades to, again, get a full cohesive look. And I wouldn't roll this into, you know, the eyeshadow of the month or something like that because I can't get enough use out of the palette as a whole. So overall, it did disappoint me, which makes me really sad because I really like the size of that, having, you know, the 15 shadows versus the big 28 shadow, 28, 35, I can't remember now. But the big palettes, while I really love those, sometimes it can be a little bit overwhelming, whereas that's a nice size for me. So that's sad. I kind of wish that there was a way I could like tear that palette apart and use some of them as singles, but I feel like I would injure myself. If you've done that, let me know. Not injure yourself, but taking a palette like that apart. Let me know. I'd be interested to see how you did that safely and effectively. So the last product that I have is sadly from Marc Jacobs. This is the Recover Perfecting Coconut Setting Mist. This I also purchased in a set. It had this, it had the Dew You drops, and it had the Invisible Primer, which I'm currently panning in my year-long project pan. So it does have settling, so you gotta shake it up. It's got the little little balls in the bottom to help, you know, shake it up and get it all nice. And I don't know how this product performs because the sprayer is absolute garbage. See? There we go. If I can get a good mist, it works. But it only works part of the time. So now that I'm on camera, it's working much better. But when I try to use it on, ooh, it smells so good, like coconut. The sprayer is total garbage. It is very hit and miss. Sometimes it sprays very nicely like you saw. Sometimes it doesn't spray at all. Sometimes it like half sprays and spits. It's just not good components, which is so surprising for Marc Jacobs being a higher end brand. If I'm going to pay that kind of price point, I want packaging that works. But I do want to hold on to this because I am planning on putting this into a different bottle. That's what I tend to do with any sort of spray that I like the spray just fine, but I hate the actual nozzle on. So I am keeping it for that reason, but it's not something that I would have purchased again, knowing what I know now. Well, I mean, the set was, because I wanted everything in the set, but I wouldn't recommend purchasing this product. So yeah, that's everything that I found so far in my collection that I really kind of regret purchasing. Again, I'm not trying to be negative or anything like that. I love products from all of these brands. These particular things, just for one reason or another, didn't work out for me. I hope that you have enjoyed this video. If you did, go ahead and give it a thumbs up. And also in the comments, I would love to know what you spent your money on and it ended up disappointing you. I'm always very curious to know what people are both loving and not so much loving. So I hope that you're having a wonderful day and I will see you next time. Bye.